How many crazy girls do you remember or know? Maybe someone from a movie, TV series, or a cartoon? My name is Dara Jones. That's my nickname. I buried my real name a long time ago, along with my past life and all its faults. I'll tell you snippets from my memories, the things that made me be this way, what made my life the way it is now. So, what do you see? The walls, the ceiling, the bed? What does it look like, my sweet, sweet girls and boys? That's right, this is my home, a mental asylum. I've paid a nurse to write down everything I'm about to tell you. Paid her how? See for yourself. So, what do you think? She was so excited to get a facial. She kept calling me ugly, saying she wanted to be prettier than me, get a smaller nose, bigger lips. Well, I did it all for free. Well, here goes. I'm going to sit on the windowsill for now and tell you about myself. Such a totally crazy girl from Norton Gold School. When I was here, I was an excellent student in my class. Looked different, all diligent, smart, activist. I played guitar, piano, and took drama classes. Everyone admired me. I had so many friends. The whole school knew me, and everyone would say hi and wait for me to answer them. Life wasn't bad. My mother always taught me to be kind no matter what. Even when people wipe their feet on you, even when they mix you up with mud, you have to keep smiling, my mother would say. My mother worked as a janitor at a small firm. She was making her best money, but it wasn't enough. And then she started dating some idiot, the head of some lousy department, Charlie. He'd give her money and she'd chase him around like a puppy. Mom fell head over heels in love. She hoped to marry him, but one day, their affair was discovered. Charlie's wife found out. She came into the office in a rage and yelled at my mother all over the building, humiliating and insulting her in every way. I was playing in an empty office nearby at the time, and I went out into the hallway and watched my mother kneel and just bear it. The lady poured a garbage can on her, kicked her, spit on her, and my mom said nothing. When they left, I went over to her and wanted to help, but Mom said it was okay. As long as they don't fire me. Mom, are you kidding? Let's get out of here. They made you look like dirt. So what? I have no other way out. People like us were born in the mud. We're used to it. We have to put up with it. I don't want to put up with it. No one's asking you. People like us have no choice and never will. Her words hurt me. I asked myself, why did she give birth to me then? So that I could live the same life? That creep hid from my mother the fact that he was married and then pretended he didn't know her after. He called our affair absurd, said he would never date a cleaning lady. When I went back to school after that, my friends already knew everything. They were making fun of me, throwing rags at me, and screaming that I was a slob. After all, I hadn't told anyone who my mom worked for, but they found everything out, including her affair. Word travels fast in a small town. They stopped talking to me. They messed things up, pushed me around, locked me in the bathroom, threw dirt in my direction, and then would say, "Go clean up." I cried. How can you do this? You're my friends. And in response, they'd say, Who are we? Your friends? You're the daughter of a cleaning lady. And a liar. You don't deserve to be our friend, okay? So this is all about my mother's work? I'm sorry, but beggars pass, my friend said. This is, after all, what I did for them, doing their homework, covering in front of teachers, parents, carrying heavy things. I came out of school and just burst. I don't know, at that moment, a different person woke up within me. I let all my demons inside out, every single one of them. The first thing I did was go to my mom's office. I found that freak's car and slashed all the tires, scratched the body, smashed the mirrors. Security ran out in alarm at the sound. They chased me, but they didn't catch me. I ran straight to my mom and found her in the back. She was with him again. She was kissing him after everything that had happened. Out of hatred for her, for him, and for myself, I opened the door wide, grabbed the mop, and stuck it right in his groin. He was in so much pain he couldn't breathe. Mom got hysterical. I ripped the tie off my school uniform, threw it at her feet, and said, "Goodbye, Mom," and then I ran back to school. I could feel my head throbbing and had absolutely no control over my thoughts. I just followed them, did what my brain told me to do. Disheveled, I ran into the classroom, where the class was in session. Delilah looked up at me. Oh, sweet Delilah, who called me her best friend. I held out my hand to her and said, "Come with me. You're either with me or against me." She turned her gaze to Austin, her new rich boyfriend. He shook his head and whispered quietly, "Don't you dare." She looked down. That was to be expected. The teacher asked me to sit back down. Then she came up to me and tugged hard on my arm. "Who do you think you are? Why aren't you obeying me?" I pulled my hand away and asked, "Who are you to tell me what to do?" "What? You've got some nerve. I'll take you to the principal." "To your lover?" "What? How dare you?" She slapped me in the face. Her long hair covered her whole face. I slowly lifted it in her direction and laughed harder and harder. "You! Every last one of you! Traitors! Calling me a hypocrite! Humiliating me just because my mother washes floors? And you, Austin? Your father closed the pedophilia case 4 years ago, right? You, Delilah, oh sweet Delilah, you bought matching bracelets and swore eternal friendship. Your mother is a drug addict and your father is a kleptomaniac. And you, Mrs. Mason, got a job here through the bed, but you were fired from the last school for the same sexual relations with management. You're all guineas. You're at the bottom of this fucking society. Just the height of hypocrisy, liars, and disgust. I hate you, all of you!" I grabbed a book off the table and smacked the teacher with it. She fell down with a broken nose. Then I went over to Austin, who was trying to calm me down, and bit his ear clean off. Oh, and Delilah, she was shaking with fear and begging for mercy. "You betrayed me and our friendship, and everything that was good about it, Delilah!" I just pushed her out the window. It was chaos in class. They tried to stop me, but I was so agile and fast, like a rabid monkey. I ran down the hallway, saw a brooch with a school crest on it, grabbed it, and poked anyone who tried to catch me. Anywhere, hands, feet, neck, eyes. That felt good. Now they were all boiling in a sea of pain and despair, just like me, like my mother. They all betrayed me. And for dessert, I left the principal, the critter who'd spread all the information about my mother and I. Oh, I cut the phone wires. Then I made him drink the whole bottle of hidden rum. But first I added a few drops of arsenic I found in the back room. Was I crazy? I think I was just the opposite. I've always been like this. Always. After all that, while the stupid cops were looking for me on camera, I managed to start the police car, ram the main entrance, and then set fire to it. The explosion was amazing. How many victims, how many nasty souls flew out of the school. And I sat across the street, at the gate, took out my mirror, and smiled at myself. Since then, I've always smiled. I've stayed here now, within the walls of the school. Why? They made it into some kind of shelter for mentally disturbed teens. There was a lot of outcry, and people were yelling that they'd never let their kids go there again. They put me on the very top, 7th floor. Sometimes my mother visits me. She comes with food and clothes. Since I was tied up, I couldn't even hug her. Are you still with him? I hope you get better. So you're still with him? Daughter. I'm not your daughter. I will not live like you, on my knees. I won't hate myself so much. You wanted to give birth to a slave, but no, stay at the bottom yourself, without me. Mother left, and I realized she would never come see me again, so I decided to write down this message. Mom, if you're watching this, look, I miss you. I'm coming to you, Mommy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kim. I'm a pretty emotional girl. I've always been that way, and I'm likely to stay that way. There are people who blush when they're angry, hiccup when they're scared or something, and I cry every time someone kisses me. It doesn't look very aesthetically pleasing. I don't even know what kind of sins I deserve such a super ability for, but I'm terribly uncomfortable with it. Now I'll tell you how I discovered it and what I sometimes have to worry about, what I go through. In the meantime, leave your opinion in the comments and I'll be happy to read them. I have a father, a sister, and a brother in my family. Our mother has been working in another country for many years. She went there to earn money, but she has not yet come back. We certainly do not despair. We wait and believe, especially the youngest one. He was very much attached to her. I remember how my father wouldn't let my mother leave at first. He kept saying that if anyone was going to work, it would be him. But she wouldn't listen to him. And then my father had some difficulties with the documents, so he had to stay with us anyway. He, like many dads, had no idea how to deal with us. But thanks to the services of nannies and the eldest daughter, that is me, we managed to survive. So that's why I'm telling you about all of this. On the day my mother left, I was about 12 years old. We were very small, and I was already thinking I didn't want her to leave. But I knew that if my parents had made up their minds, I wouldn't be able to talk her out of it. So I slowly forced myself to come to terms with the idea, and finally, when the day of her departure came, my mother kissed me for the last time. It was the coldest kiss from her. I swear, I felt like she wanted to get out of there fast, like she wanted to start a new life, and I felt like this was our last meeting. Naturally, I didn't tell anyone about it, and I still keep it a secret. But something strange happened to me after that moment. I remember when we got home, I suddenly felt very bad, so bad that I almost fainted. My father called an ambulance and turned pale. I was pumped out, told that it was all about nerves and stress, advised to rest more and enjoy life. Yeah, you'll be happy here because the most difficult part is still ahead. From that moment on, our lives were different. We learned what it means to belong to yourself, take care of each other independently, solve problems, meet new nannies, clean, cook, and so on. It was especially hard for me because I'm a girl and because I'm the eldest. From that day on, no one ever kissed me again. I didn't even have the habit of kissing my girlfriends because I didn't want to. At home, kisses were reduced to 0, and so we lived. A few years had passed, we had matured, changed, and hardened. Everything fell into place, exactly as it should have been. I was doing well at school, and then it seemed to get even better. I got a boyfriend. He went to a different school, was older than me, and I really liked him. You won't believe it. Our relationship was right in my head. Everything was fine until he kissed me. At that moment, it was as if I felt a chill again and a wave of tears rose to my throat. Hot tears gushed from my eyes. I was crying like I was at a funeral. Sam was surprised. The first time, he asked me 100 questions about what, how, and why, but I couldn't figure it out myself. Then we started checking, and the theory was confirmed. I have something like an allergy to kissing. I roar like I'm on my last day of life. I first cried after kissing and then laughed at myself. It looked awful, but I couldn't help it. I even went to a psychologist, and she told me that it was all about my distant childhood trauma. Everything is connected with a kiss from my mother. Maybe it won't go away until I forgive her. But the thing is, I couldn't forgive her. In the end, Sam couldn't stand it, and he left. Of course, it was terribly shitty, but what could I do? Because I could not stop him. He is also just a person. Over time, everything became normal, but I also changed. Became such a callous bitch. I think the thing is that I have accumulated a lot of resentment. Over the years, I stopped letting anyone near me at all, and I didn't even have any friends. One time a girl from the parallel began to crowd in on me. Her name was Helen, and she had a boyfriend named Dylan. He was a real hunk. I didn't mean to hurt her, honestly, but my inner angry bitch was driving me at that moment. Helen knew about my tantrum after the kiss and thought it was cute. I remember. She had a party and I had a little too much to drink. I got sick and went to lie down in Helen's room. Then her boyfriend came in. He wanted to take something and I started pestering him. Anyway, I kissed him and started crying. At that moment, Helena came in. She knew what was going on right away because Dylan had a face like that and I was sitting on her bed sobbing. They broke up and it was my fault, and she also stopped communicating with me. I know I don't deserve a friend like that, but it happened the way it happened. Since it's been a couple of years, in the end, I was left almost alone. I had no friends, no soulmate. The guys were scared. I couldn't hold them. A couple of years later, I changed psychologists, and he began to actively help me. He was just writing a scientific dissertation on disorders similar to mine. Dr. Rob treated me with all sorts of methods, and it was free except for consultations. After 5 years, his work bore fruit. And the moment when he decided to test everything in practice, it became the most memorable. He kissed me, and for the first time, I reciprocated calmly, without tears or tantrums. Everything was fine. After that, we started dating. Yes, I am still together with him. I don't know anyone who helped me, supported me, or believed in me the same way Rob did. I couldn't ask for anyone better. As for my family, Rob became almost our family psychologist. He also helped my father not to bury himself in himself. We found a common language, and soon, my father built a decent life for himself. We jokingly called Rob our mom, but if we're serious, we're all very grateful to him. Do you think you guys would be able to date a girl with this feature? How would you behave if your partner reacted to a kiss like that? Please write your opinion in the comments and tell your stories. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and share my story with your friends.